The world is in complete chaos right now. With the Russian-Ukrainian war threatening to spill over to international borders, oil and gas prices running out of control, and inflation skyrocketing to unprecedented heights, America could be heading into one of the worst recessions of the 21st century. People could lose their jobs, their houses, and worst of all, their entire savings could go down the drain overnight, all while unemployment, crime, and homelessness goes through the roof. You thought the Great Recession of 2008 was bad? Well, brace yourself, because we might be going into the mother of all recessions by the end of 2022. And it's not just financial analysts who are predicting this. Even the world's wealthiest billionaires think that America is on course to its worst financial and economic train wreck since 1929. Plus, stay tuned to the end, because you won't believe the insane accusations that Jeff Bezos made about President Biden on America's high rates of inflation. And before going to the next part of the video, today's shoutout goes to SLS Gaming. For getting a shoutout in my next video, do subscribe to Invest Freak. I will pick a random channel from my subscriber list. In November 2021, Elon Musk made history. His net worth peaked at a mind-blowing $340 billion, which surpassed the peak-adjusted inflation net worth of J.D. Rockefeller, estimated to be about $300 billion. Things were looking up for months, and he had an aura of confidence heading into the new year. After all, he was named Time's most influential person of 2021. What could possibly go wrong? Fast forward to the end of Q1 2022 and Musk's net worth has plummeted by more than $100 billion. Everything from a massive dip in Tesla's stock to the effects of the Russian-Ukrainian war have plagued Musk's wealth. And listen to this. He believes it's only going to get worse. It all started with a December 2021 tweet when Musk predicted that a massive global recession was going to rock the world's global markets hard and in turn trigger a financial crisis like never seen before. When one of his followers asked, "When do you think the next recession is going to be?" Musk responded, "Predicting macroeconomics is challenging, to say the least. My gut feel is maybe around spring or summer 2022, but not later than 2023. Musk was also not optimistic about the future of unicorn companies, which are essentially startups that reach a valuation of $1 billion without being listed on the stock market. In response to a tweet posted by Christopher Mims, who estimated that there are currently 936 startups valued at over $1 billion today, Musk responded that most of these companies would not make it past the upcoming recession. Billionaire investor Ray Dalio has an interesting take on the entire affair. For Dalio, we might not enter a recession, rather a stagflation caused by rising levels of inflation and high interest rates. Unlike a recession where the whole economy collapses, stagflation is a period characterized by rising inflation, increased joblessness and slow economic growth. I think that most likely what we're going to have is a period of stagflation, and then you have to understand how to build a portfolio that's balanced for that kind of an environment, Dalio said. According to him, the proof is in the pudding. For example, the Consumer Price Index rose by 7.9% in February, recording the fastest rate of inflation in 40 years, pushing the prices of used cars, food and rent through the roof. The Oracle of Omaha also had its own sentiments about the upcoming economic crisis. While speaking at the 2022 Berkshire Hathaway annual shareholders meeting, Warren Buffett repeated the same advice he's been giving for years about inflation. The strongest protection against inflation is always sharpening your skills and working extremely hard to be the best at what you do. The 91-year-old Buffett believes that the only way to beat the effects of inflation and an upcoming recession is by being exceptionally good at something. People are always going to give you some of what they produce in exchange for what you deliver, Buffett echoed. He referred that skills, unlike currency, are inflation-proof, so if you've mastered a skill that is in high demand, it will give you returns, no matter what the currency is worth. Buffett went on to continue, whatever abilities you have can't be taken away from you, they can't actually be inflated away from you. The best investment by far is anything that develops yourself, and it's not taxed at all. When America was coming out of the Great Recession that was triggered by the housing crisis, Buffett made it clear that the best option was to always invest in yourself. If not that, then the next best thing you can do is invest in a thriving business that makes high-quality products so that demand will always be there regardless of the performance of any currency. Buffett used a company like Coca-Cola as a fine example, mentioning how people will always want to drink their favorite soda even decades from now, when inflation would have made its price 3 times what it's worth now, a word to the wises. People always want to pay for the products they value. And lastly, We have Jeff Bezos, whose response to talks of skyrocketing inflation and an impending recession should baffle you. While most billionaires were giving their level-headed sentiments on inflation, Bezos went ahead to accuse President Joe Biden of peddling misinformation on Twitter about the subject. This came after Joe Biden tweeted that wealthy corporations like Amazon should pay their fair share of taxes so as to reduce the high rates of inflation in the country, Biden wrote. You want to bring down inflation? Let's make sure the wealthiest corporations pay their fair share. After seeing this tweet, Bezos responded by stating that there was no link between corporate taxes and inflation. The newly created disinformation board should review this tweet. Or maybe they need to form a new non-sequitur board instead. Raising corporation taxes is fine. To discuss taming inflation is critical. To discuss mushing them together is just misdirection. But this is not the first time that Biden has been critical of corporate companies like Amazon for allegedly evading taxes. In May of 2020, Biden stated that Amazon should start paying its taxes. While attending an interview with CNBC, Joe went on to say, I don't think any company. I don't give a damn how big they are. The Lord Almighty should absolutely be in a position where they pay no tax and make billions and billions and billions of dollars. Amazon has been criticized for some of its questionable tax years like 2017 and 2018, when its financial filings show that it did not pay any income tax and instead was to collect a tax refund from the federal government. Well, aside from Bezos, who appears to be living in his own magical world, it seems that most billionaires have a pretty bleak expectation of the USA's economy in the coming months. Are we really going into a recession?